Her father has threatened to physically and personally evict me from my apartment because he says I'm harassing her daughter. She has threatened to stab me, cut me deep, and she's not going to stop until I'm in the grave. That's what she says all the time.
How do you two know each other, and how did it get this bad, and what's going on?
This is the plaintiff, James Papa. He says the defendant's the most evil person he's ever had the displeasure of knowing. She falsely called the cops on him 5 times. She owes him $3,000 he loaned to her. She won't pay him back, and he's suing for it. Here and now. This is the defendant, Alyssa Zenke. She says the plaintiff's been the one harassing her, and she doesn't owe him any money. He loaned the money to her ex-boyfriend, and he's the one the plaintiff should be suing, not her, because she owes nothing. She's accused of not repaying a loan.
All parties, please hit your right hand.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Milian in our forum, the People's Court.
People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Milian presiding. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Okay, Mr. Papa, what happened?
I met Alyssa Zenquist about 3 years ago through a friend of mine, and since that, she has done nothing but harass me. I have harassment charges against her. She has an open warrant against her right now. I'm about to file another warrant against her because she's trying to get me evicted from my apartment. Her father has threatened to physically and personally evict me from my apartment because he says I'm harassing her daughter. She has threatened to stab me, cut me deep, and she's not going to stop until I'm in the grave. That's what she says all the time.
How do you two know each other, and how did it get this bad, and what's going on? You two met through a third party who was her boyfriend?
Yes.
Okay, is he still her boyfriend?
I don't know.
Okay, is he still your boyfriend? Ms. Zenquist?
No, I haven't spoken to him. We have a child together, but
okay.
He's not
When was the
around.
last time you spoke to him?
It's been like 2 weeks, 3 weeks since I spoke to him last.
And he doesn't see the child?
No, he's in James's presence. He knows where he is. I don't.
How do you know he's in James's presence?
Because he's his money person. He gives him his money, Your Honor. That's where he gets his money from. He has nothing without him.
You're talking about your child's father.
Yes, I was under the impression that this relationship was way different than what it really was, and basically I got bamboozled, and now he's trying to sue me to like make it worse.
Okay, let's go back to 2018 and the things that you're suing about. How did it come to pass that you loaned both her ex and her money? How did that happen?
They were in the hotel and they had to pay for it. They needed somebody to pay for it. I went down and paid the bill because they said they would pay me back when they both got jobs and when they had money.
How did you know the boyfriend?
I met him because he was in a nursing home with my niece, who is now deceased.
When you say
he was in the nursing home also, and he was taking care of my niece.
Taking care of your niece, and
Yes, he was in the nursing home, but helping her with daily needs, wheeling her around, helping feed her. He was very helpful, and that's how I met him.
Okay, and are you still friends with him?
Yes, I am, but he is homeless on the streets. He does not live with me. If he calls me for cigarettes, for food, for a ride to a clinic, I will take him there, Your Honor.
Okay.
But you won't take him to see his son.
Can I ask you, tell me about all this money that you say you loaned. Go through it with me.
All right, I paid for the motel. The motel was $384 a week. I did their wash every day or every other day.
And according to you, you paid for 4 weeks. How many weeks of the motel?
4 weeks.
Okay, go on.
Cigarettes every day, which was a pack and a half a day.
Wait, cigarettes
for the pack of them, 3 packs
cigarettes
of cigarettes
are for people who can pay for housing. Why are you buying them cigarettes? Like, you're suing for $800 in cigarettes. Why just not provide them? Well, you're suing for $420. Her part of the $840.
Judge,
Why not
Alyssa
just?
thinks
not buy the cigarettes. Like necessities are necessities. Homelessness is homelessness. They have a baby, but you're keeping them well fed and cigarettes?
Because it was what they wanted every day. They wanted cigarettes and
Okay, but I want crack. Are you going to buy me crack every day? I mean, like, that's not a necessity. I mean, when you're helping people out, I understand helping them out for a roof over their head, but buying them $800 and something worth of cigarettes, that's kind of a luxury. Cigarettes. What else are you suing for? The hotel, the cigarettes.
The food every day.
Food every day?
Yes. I was making food, bringing it up to them. I was taking them out to eat. They were going to Wawa for breakfast. They were going to Wawa for lunch and dinner. I took them out to eat every day.
Okay. Back in 2018, 3 years ago, do you have receipts for that?
I don't have any of the receipts. I was I had a credit card. My credit card was maxed, and now it's in default, and they won't send me any of the records.
Laundry bill, because according to you, what?
I did their laundry for them. I live in Pennsauken and drove to Lawrenceville like every other day with their laundry and everything else they needed. I took her to see her children on supervised visits from Lawrenceville to Trenton. She stopped at Wawa, bought snacks for the children every time she went, Your Honor. Her children were in DIFUS care because she was an addict on drugs and was not allowed to see her children.
So why are you spending all, what is your motivation in pouring money on this couple in particular?
My mother taught me never look down on anybody unless you're giving them a hand up. And that's what I tried to do because they promised to pay me back.
But why is a drug addict? What I don't get is you have a lot of complaints now because you're in court and you say she's the most evil person you ever met. So why in particular this couple? Because of your friendship with her ex and your connection with her ex and the fact that he took care of your niece and...
Yes.
Right. All right. Let me hear your side, Ms. Zenquist. He says you owe him $3,000.
He's never given me anything directly. He made it in the beginning, he would do those things because he wanted me to believe that his relationship with my ex was just platonic. So that he wanted to look like he was his mentor. That's what he uses. That he was just trying to help. But once he realized that I wasn't going anywhere and that it wasn't just a fling thing, that then he started to be malicious. I maybe got some.
Wait, I'm sorry. Was his relationship with your ex platonic or not?
No, ma'am. No.
So they had a physical relationship?
Yes, ma'am.
How did you find that out?
I've seen James has sent me naked photos of my ex.
During the time that you were dating him?
Yes, and he's made it a point to tell me that my ex was gay and that he didn't want to be with me. He has called my children's father to try to get my children taken from me. Like,
when did I want to do something? I want to go back in time, and according to you, the money he's sending you is because he wants your ex, in every sense. And when did things go so wrong? Like,
they went wrong. It was about 6 or 7 months. My ex went into jail.
Were you pregnant?
No, I wasn't pregnant yet.
So after that, you got pregnant?
Yes, because
your ex went into jail, and you find out that he doesn't like. Well, maybe he likes both, but both kinds of wine. You find out that and you stay with him, and then you get pregnant with him. How'd that work out? Now?
Yes. Not too good.
All right.
But
so
I learned my lesson, and I just want to be left alone.
Okay.
And I'm not with him anymore. He's with him. And he's still attacking me because I have the baby.
So let me understand something. When was the first time that you and the plaintiff didn't get along, and why? Like, what was it that happened that made you realize what was...
Okay, in the motel, when we were staying in the motel, it would be times where my ex would say, James is going to give us some money. I'm going to go help him with a few things, but you can't come. You have to stay here. And I had to stay there all day till 8 o'clock at night by myself because James would not let me get in the car. And after that, it pretty much was the same. I was not allowed in his car. I was not allowed to go.
So
Kyle got money
when
from
did
him.
you confront your ex and say, hey, what's going on?
Pretty soon after that. And he denied it. He's in love with me. I just was like arm candy for him. It was nothing like that. And then I didn't find out until my ex went into jail.
What'd your ex go to jail for?
He has a different stuff from drug offenses, different things.
Okay. So he goes to jail and he's no longer around. And then how do you find out?
Then James starts contacting me wanting to gossip. Like, oh, because he wasn't around to, get mad at him about telling me. So he figured, I'm going to tell her now. So he even came to my house to tell me and speak to me in person about it.
And say what? What did he say?
Oh, he said, we were dating. We've been dating since before you met him. We've been dating.
How old is your ex?
28 or 29, I think.
Okay, go on.
We've been dating, and I don't think he's bisexualist. I think he's gay, because I said maybe he's he has to be if he's with me. And then he sent me the pictures of him. Some of the pictures he was on.
Mr. Papa sends you naked pictures of your ex to prove to you that he's in a relationship with him.
Yes, he was unconscious.
Did you do that, Mr. Papa?
I sent her, what I did was, Your Honor, I took pictures of Kyle when he was at my house, so whacked out because he's a drug addict, she's a drug addict, and I was trying to prove to Kyle, this is how far gone you are, and you need to get your act together to become the person that I met originally. As far as a physical relationship, Your Honor, there is none. This is all in Alyssa's mind. The pictures I took were to show how bad he really is. He is now homeless.
Was he naked in them?
Yes.
Did Mr. Papa, according to you, actually tell you I'm in a relationship with him, or you assumed that from the naked?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, Mr. Papa actually has a restraining order on Kyle that states in the restraining order that they were in a dating relationship, and my ex had domestic violence, that he had hit him and that he had taken money from him.
Mr. Papa, did you file a restraining order, and within the facts of the restraining order swear that in fact you were in a relationship with the person you just denied to me under oath that you were in a relationship with?
There is no relationship, Your Honor.
That isn't my question. Order. My question was, did you apply for a restraining order and say that you were in a relationship?
There is no restraining order. It's a no contact order.
Yes, there is.
Did you apply for a no contact order and say
yes, I did.
And in the facts you said I'm in a relationship with him?
I said I was.
Okay, but you just told me there was never a relationship, but you swore to another judge that there was.
No, it's not a sexual relationship. It's a friendship relationship, whatever you want to call it, Your Honor.
Okay. Why aren't you suing Kyle?
No, Kyle. I have a notarization from Kyle in the amount of $18,000, and Alyssa knows about that because she saw that statement. He agreed to pay his half.
A promissory note in the amount of how much?
$18,000.
Why $18,000?
Because that's what I've lent Kyle over the course of I don't know how long.
Were there any strings attached?
No. What do you mean strings attached, Your Honor?
I think we both know what I mean. But my question to you is, what evidence do you have that Ms. Zenquist, if you have this lengthy history of $18,000 worth of money going your way towards the 27-year-old, can you tell me what evidence do you have that Ms. Zenquist obligated herself to pay any of those debts?
She told me when she was in the motel that she was going to get a job across the street from the motel. She was going to get the money from her father. She was going to give me money out of the money that her ex, the father of her children, would send her out of support. This is a promissory that she made me, Your Honor.
Other than you say, watch this. Did you promise you'd pay back this money?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, so right now, so it's your word against hers. So now my question is, do you have anything to prove it's your way and not her way? Because I have to be careful that you're not just saying this, not because she obligated herself, but because now you guys have dueling restraining orders and dueling police calls, and it's gotten into this nasty thing, and you're still close to the ex, but not to her, and then she and the ex have a custody issue. I got to make sure it's not for other reasons. I got to make sure that the reason you're suing her is because she actually owes you the money. So in my quest to see if that's true, all I'm asking for is, do you have a text, do you have an email, do you have a promissory note, anything where she obligates herself to pay stuff?
Honor, at this point, no, because I can't pull it up on the phone because it's somehow deleted on my phone.
Okay. All right. So Ms. Zenquist, let me ask you this. What has he done to you?
He's called my children's father to tell him to keep my kids from me. He has the reason my father contacted him was because my father was trying to mediate and was like, please leave my daughter alone. But since then, he's filed this lawsuit, this suing thing for me. Since then, we agreed to leave each other alone. I left him alone. Then he did this. And then recently, just the other day, he showed up to my apartment building, went to the office, and told them that I'm living here with my mom to try to get me and my children thrown out. And which I'm not, because they know I'm here. I'm supposed to be here. And then he called the police in front of the lady in the office, and he was like, help, someone's hitting me. And she was like, nobody's around you. And she actually called the police back and said, don't come out here. This guy's lying.
Did you want to respond to that, Mr. Papa?
I absolutely do. I went to her apartment building, Your Honor, because she called my building trying to get me evicted. I've been there 15 years. I have never had one complaint, not one neighbor complaint, tenant complaint against me until Alyssa started calling the cops. The cops actually came to my house with the search dogs because she said I'm selling drugs and I'm bringing homeless men into my house and having sex.
Okay, Mr. Papa.
She thinks this is a joke, Your Honor. She thinks
Stop dealing with Kyle.
She's a drug addict. She's a drug addict, Your Honor, and doesn't deserve to have her children.
What happened to my mother taught me not to look down unless I'm helping up. What happened to that part?
I believe that, Your Honor.
You do still believe that.
I still believe that. When somebody beats you with a stick.
All right, guys, we're done. Now is the part where neither one of you speak again. All right?
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Papa, I do not find that you have sufficiently proven to me that the defendant is obligated to pay back all of this, money that you have been pouring in a 27-year-old's lap for I don't know how long. I don't find that you have any scintilla of proof that she is supposed to pay that back as opposed to him. You don't have any evidence of any of the food, the receipts, all these other things that you're talking about that you spent, but more importantly, no evidence of the fact that she's obligated to pay them. I'm finding in favor of the defendant in this case.
I respect your decision. Thank you. Goodbye.
So the plaintiff, obviously upset, has just departed the proceedings here. Let me talk to Ms. Enquist, the defendant. He made a lot of charges against you, Ms. Enquist. How do you feel about that?
I've been dealing with this for a long time. I don't really feel anything at all because it's just not true, and God doesn't like ugly. So that's why what happened here happened.
Let me ask you about, do you think this is going to end, this problem you've been having with him? I mean, you did win. You don't owe him the money.
It's over on my part. I have nothing to say to him, but I don't think he's going to stop harassing me. No. Yeah, because he didn't win. Now he's mad.
Well, look, congratulations. You prevailed in this lawsuit. Let's hope your problems don't get any worse, at least. All right, thank you very much, and that'll wrap it up for this case. Okay. Harvey?
Well, Doug, we've talked about this before, but it's so easy to avoid a lawsuit when you write out and spell out exactly what the deal is. Who owes who what, when it's due. Do it in a text. Do it in an email. You don't even need a formal contract. But if you don't do it, welcome to the People's Court.
What advice would you give parents raising children in society today?
Be on it. Be on it.
Don't ever turn your back on
Don't
it.
you? No.
Right.
Be on it. You are a spy in your own house. I believe, I always told my children, you are being raised by the golden rule. She who makes the gold makes the rules.
Hey, what about he who makes the gold?
Well, I'm the one disciplining them. Let's face it. Your parenting theory is I'm a coming girl.
Yeah,
okay, so but their phones are my phones. They are not their phones.
They know there's no Fourth Amendment.
There's no Fourth Amendment. There's no right to privacy in my house. Be on it. Read it. I don't care how many people send me an email now. I do not care. You can send me all the emails you want about respecting their privacy. No, that is an earned right as they get older, and you can trust them.
Right.
And it's not just trust them. It's trust everyone around them, and the influence everyone around them is going to have on them. That way, you can catch the cancer before it metastasizes, you see?
Right.
So if you learn when a child is young because you are on it, you are, you look at the phone every blue moon, or you are listening to the conversations, then you might be able to stop a drug problem before it takes over. You might be able to. Sometimes it could be out of your control.
Right.
But, you had a case where a 14-year-old killed another 14-year-old. Right. And if the mother had even looked in that backpack,
Yeah, and seen his diary.
And seen his diary.
Yeah.
And I know that people think, well, that's a terrible, I don't care what you think. I'm opening it up. I'm going to read it. I'm going to look at it, and I'm going to be on it. Until, I'm talking about when in these formative years where everything can go wrong. Right. Be on it.
Yeah.
This is the plaintiff, Marcus Slayman. He says he was driving a truck and got pulled over for too much weight and was given a citation because he didn't have a commercial driver's license. The defendants haven't paid him in full for his trip from New York to California, and he wants the $3,386.80 he's owed and is suing for it. These are the defendants, Felix Carlos Campos Jr. and Carlito Campos Santiago. They said the plaintiff hit a tree and didn't tell them about it, so they deducted the damage from his pay. The guy's also suing them for a lawyer because he got a ticket, but it wasn't a moving violation and he didn't need a lawyer, so they're not paying. They're accused of trucking up a trucker.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiff says that he drove a truck from New York to California, and now the defendant won't pay him for his work. But the defendant says the guy hit a tree and damaged the truck so badly he deducted that from his pay. It's the case of trucking up a trucker.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
All right, Mr. Slayman, you are suing Campos Sol Relocation LLC, represented here by Felix Carlos Campos and Carlito Campos, because according to you, you were hired to do a job and promised a certain pay, and they cut your pay and won't pay you what they owe you. Tell me what happened here.
Okay, so I met Carlito through doing some work with him in the past. We used to work for a moving company, and he's a truck driver, and we had a very good relationship. Okay, so on Saturday, September 5th, I received a call from Carlito stating that his son Felix needed a driver to drive from Florida to New York to California and back to Florida.
Wow.
Right. We had a verbal agreement that my salary would be $1,500 per week.
So you're hired to drive, and it's going to take how many weeks to do all this? To go Florida, New York to California?
The trip ended up taking 3 weeks.
Yeah. And at the end of the first week, did you get paid?
I did not.
What did they say to you?
They told me I had to wait until we finish in California, which was 2 weeks after we started.
All right. And did that sit well with you?
It did not.
Okay. Well, what had been the agreement? Were you supposed to get paid after each week?
We didn't specify. I was under the assumption that I would get paid weekly.
Okay. All right. So what ends up happening?
Okay. So we made the trip to New York. We made several stops along the way. We unloaded it. We filled back up in New York. We made our way to California. On our way to California, I ended up getting pulled over where the truck was overweight. I did not have a commercial driver's license, and I ended up getting cited for the truck being overweight without no valid commercial driver's license.
So I don't understand. Do you need a commercial driver's license or you don't? Or you can only be overweight?
When the truck is overweight.
Somebody with a commercial driver's license can have an overweight truck.
That is correct. I just recently found out if it's over 26,001 pounds, it requires a commercial driver's license.
Okay. All right. So what happens?
So I ended up getting cited, and we had to have Carlito come pick the truck up, and we swapped trucks. I drove the truck that he was driving, and we made our way to California.
Okay. So what happens in California?
Okay, so in California, we unloaded all 3 trucks, and then after the job, he paid all of the helpers, because at each stop, like throughout all the trips, there was helpers there to help us. And at the end of each job, all the helpers were paid. So I was not paid, and then I got mad, and I demanded payment, and I received a payment in amount of $600 that day. He told me, you don't have to worry about it.
He
because
who?
you're with
Which
us.
one?
You don't have to worry about Felix.
Felix, the son.
He explained to me, right. He explained to me that you're with us. You don't have to worry about not getting paid. So he made a payment of $600, and he told me he'll pay me the rest at the end of the trip.
Okay. Did anybody tell you, hey, we're going to pay you less?
No, not at that time. They didn't tell me that until I got back to Florida when all the trucks were unloaded.
And then what did they tell you in Florida?
When we returned to Florida and all the trucks were unloaded, they said, we're only going to be able to pay you $3,500 for the trip, and we're also going to take out $1,000 because the truck was damaged.
And was the truck damaged?
The truck was damaged, but we did not do a pre-trip inspection, and there were multiple people driving the trucks because, like, throughout the whole 3 weeks, multiple people had to move the trucks around when we were loading and unloading.
Okay. Do you remember damaging the truck yourself? Was there ever a time when that you
know
damaged?
what? Honestly, I don't recall. It's possible. It is possible that the truck might have been damaged, but I never.
That's not my question. My question is, did you damage it? Because it looks like the damage that's on the truck that I got pictures of look like, the truck hit an overhang tree or something, a limb. Do you recall anything like that happening?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, I damaged the truck.
Okay, all right. So now you get to Florida, and all of a sudden he tells you what? That he's going to pay you how much?
$3,500 for the trip,
and
minus $1,000 for the truck damage.
Okay, now what's going on, Mr. Campos?
Okay, so this is the situation. When I asked my dad to find somebody, I had worked Marcus before. We had did another job, and he worked really good. So I said, when my dad offered to bring him on to drive for us, I said, okay, that's fine. I liked his attitude. He was a hard worker, and I told my dad, I said, listen, we let him know that our pay would be anywhere from $1,200 to a maximum of $1,500 a week.
Wait, what's that? So what does that mean? We'll pay you anywhere from this to this. There has to be. All right. So what amount did you settle on?
That's the thing. Marcus never discussed anything with me specifically. Okay. And if I'm the person that's paying you, why wouldn't you come to me and talk to me? Everything was through my dad.
Well, apparently you're sending your dad to speak with him. So I have the same question of you.
Because
how much was he offered to drive? Nobody drives for an approximate. Nobody takes a job that says, well, we'll pay you between X and X. It's a specific amount. What was a specific amount?
That's what I told my dad. And I told my dad anywhere for $1,200. I said the minimum he would get paid is $1,200 because I did not know. You have to understand, when we're picking up jobs in different states, I don't know what I'm picking up yet. So I can't promise somebody $1,500 and I'm not making enough the money to cover the truck, to cover him, and cover everything else.
Yet somebody could take 3 weeks to drive all over Hell's Acres and not know how much he's going to get paid. That I need to understand too?
He had a ballpark figure of
a ballpark
minimum.
Figure. Okay. All right. So then what happens?
So then we get to California. We went up some crazy hills and stuff like that. We got done at nighttime, so we'll start coming down. I didn't know I had damage to my truck, and neither did my dad until the next morning. Marcus never told us that he hit a tree or anything. Like, his damage on his truck was significant enough where you hit something.
Okay. When did you notice the damage to the truck?
I didn't notice until the next morning when Marcus told my dad, never told me, told my dad that the truck was damaged.
Okay. And then what happened?
I went over there and I looked at the truck and I seen that he hit a tree. And I said, Marcus, how do you not know that you hit a tree? And he says, oh, I don't know. It was dark. Okay, granted. I said, listen, we have, I think a couple hours later, after I calmed down, I told him, listen, there's damage to that truck. There's $1,000 deductible on all the trucks. That is through Penske. That's the insurance that I paid extra for if anything happens to the truck. And I told him, I said, if I get charged it's coming out of your pay because you're in charge of that truck. You're driving that truck. Everybody's in charge of their own truck.
All right. So according to you, there's a conversation between him and your dad in California and what? And your dad, let's hear from your dad. Mr. Campos Sr., can you tell me what it is what conversation you had with him in California?
I told him, I explained to him clearly. I told him, you can come on this trip. You're going to make between $1,200 to $1,500. And I told him clearly before he left with me.
Okay.
$3,600, that's what he got paid. besides the $1,000. I gave him $2,000. My son gave him $600.
Okay.
And I told him in California.
First question,
he
Mr.
gave me a hard
Slayman.
time.
He says he paid you $2,000. Did he? Yes or no?
He gave me $2,000.
And then
Yes,
his
he
son,
did.
according to him, his son gave you $600. Did he? Yes or no?
Yes, he did.
Okay, let's take it from there. According to them, then they gave you $2,600. According to you, you should have gotten $4,500. Is it accurate that it was explained to you that your pay would vary based on the jobs jobs having?
That is not true.
Okay. Do you have
No.
any proof, Mr. Campos Sr. or Mr. Campos Jr.? Do either of you have any proof about what the salary would be? Text, emails, anything that would prove to me what the salary was supposed to be?
No, Your Honor, I don't have any texts because that discussion wasn't made with me. That was made with my father and Mr. Marcus himself.
Talk to me about the ticket. Did you tell him that you would pay the ticket?
Absolutely, but he never communicated me about the ticket. He never, after the trip, he was upset. Whatever reason, he never contacted me again about anything about the ticket or even asked me, hey, what should I do about this ticket? I told him, listen.
Mr. Slayman, what is it you ended up doing? You hired a lawyer to represent you on the ticket? Why?
Because I lived out of state. I had no way to get back to Iowa. And
You don't have to get back to Iowa. Why didn't you just pay it?
Because I didn't want, they were going to accumulate some points on my license. And I didn't want, I didn't want points on my license for this trip.
And you don't think that's fair to pass the attorney cost to you? Why, Mr. Campos? Because he should just take the points?
No, because you know, Your Honor, as being the judge, they don't automatically give you points. If you don't have an extensive record, a lot of the times they will waive.
Yeah, but you have to go in order to do that. You have to fight. If you pay the ticket by mail, they're probably going to give you the points.
When he told me he got a ticket, I thought it was only for the weight. I didn't realize that he got a ticket for not having a commercial vehicle.
Well,
I was under the
commercial license, but you were under the impression that he had a commercial license?
No, I was under the impression that it was for only an overweight ticket. It wasn't about the commercial license.
What happened in Florida when you came back, Mr. Slayman?
They waited until I finished all the jobs, 3 weeks of this strenuous labor, to tell me that they're going to not only short my pay from $3,500, but take $1,000 off from the $3,500, paying me the $2,500, and I'm supposed to be okay with that.
In terms of the truck and the damage, I agree with the defendants that, if you damage the truck and it costs them $1,000 deductible, then it costs them $1,000 deductible. But I do agree with you that you weren't a partner in this where if the endeavor makes less money, you're supposed to make less money. I would expect them to be able to prove that you agreed to it. You deny ever having agreed to it. And that's not normally what happens to an employee. They don't share. If they're not going to share in making the big bucks, they're also not going to share in whatever loss there is. That's a partner problem, not an employee problem. And if you want to be able to prove it to a court of law, then have some evidence of what you're saying. That's all, because now it's just your word against his. So I'm finding in favor of the plaintiff in the amount that he should have been owed $4,500. And he was only paid $2,600. That would leave $1,900 that he should be paid. Then there are attorney's fees and court costs. And the problem isn't whether or not the defendants agree to pay for them. It's that they don't want to have to pay for an attorney, and they think that it's excessive. Do you have proof that you paid an attorney $750 to show up in traffic court?
This is it right here.
What's the $400 in emotional distress? What's that about?
I was not able to work for 2 days because I was so furious, and the chemicals in my brain were not settled, so I was not able to work.
I would think you would take 2 days off anyway after a 3-week solid of not taking any days off. How is that something that they should pay you for? Okay, I agree with you on the $1,000. On the rest of the stuff, I agree with him. I don't, unless you're able to carry the burden of proof on your defense, which is, hey, he was going to get paid either this or that, depending on whether the our business deal went well, and that's not normally how an employee gets paid. I'm finding that he was supposed to get the $1,500. That would mean that there was a deficit of $1,900. I am going to order you to pay the ticket clinic costs and the court fees for the ticket, because I don't think any of you knew that. I mean, any of you thought he had a commercial license. You should know if your truck is overweight, and you should know if your employee has a commercial license. I'm not going to award any emotional distress. The tolls, I don't think you contest the tolls. So that leads me to a total of $2,886.80. Verdicts for the plaintiff.
So the plaintiff prevails in this case. He's going to get a little over $2,800. He had been suing for $3,300. $2,800 is what he's going to get. Mr. Campos, both of you, let me ask you, what do you think about what the judge decided just now?
Not fair for her to be judging that he never finished the job. His truck was completely loaded. I offloaded it the following week. So he shouldn't get paid out because he never finished the job.
I don't think the judge understands the way the moving business and even transportation business goes. You don't get paid. Any driver will tell you this. You get paid on what the job covers. If the job cancels and things cancel, you get paid less.
All right. Well, you know, it was up to you to really explain it that carefully to the judge. Unfortunately, you didn't do it that well, and she has filed against you.
I tried to.
Obviously, you're not happy. Mr. Slayman, I don't know if you're happy either. You're going to get $2,800, not $3,300. Hey, that's a lot better than.
I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied.
You are.
Yes.
All right, good. Look, have you ever done that kind of work before, or was that the first time? Yeah,
I've been doing.
Quick question.
I've been doing this work for a long time, and ran into plenty of crooks like them.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah. Congratulations. All right, Harvey, what's your take?
Doug, I will say, before going to court, a lot of times these matters can be handled by the state's labor commission. You can check it out by going online and seeing if they mediate disputes like that.
I got a lawyer, but it seems they are not helping my case. It's been 2 months since I got any lawyer help. I heard nothing from them. I'm very upset. What can I do?
If you haven't heard from your lawyer for 2 months, that might be a good thing. You never know. I mean, everybody thinks, well, I want my lawyer to keep me up to date on everything that's going on. But it's possible that whatever case this person's involved in is moving slowly, and that a 2-month gap in contact is no big deal. Plus, a lot of lawyers, depending on how the billing arrangement is, use unit billing. So if they're going to call you, that phone call is going on the timesheet and you're getting billed for it. And you have to ask yourself, do I really want another $250, hey, everything's going just fine, expression of keeping me up to date by the attorney. So it's not necessarily a great thing to have constant phone calls.
I'd like to know too, are you saying you've called them and they haven't returned the last 4 phone calls? You've emailed them and they haven't returned.
You?
Are they totally ghosting you, or just, hey, I'd like to be called more often than I'm getting called? Which is it?
Right. But bar complaints, when things really get out of control and you're really being neglected by an attorney, that usually gets their attention as well.
And by bar complaint, every state has a regulatory agency in their bar association that sanctions lawyers, and keeping client contact is one of the things that people are supposed to do.
The mere threat of
a bar complaint usually gets you a call back.
Right.
It doesn't do much for the relationship, but
it could sour the relationship, and that's a problem as well. But when bar complaints are made, lawyers usually have to respond in writing. It takes a lot of time. It's a pain in the rear, even if they're frivolous, and maybe most of them are. But they take them very seriously. Sometimes they even have to hire their own lawyer to handle the bar complaint. So nobody wants that.